Every weekend, in some quiet suburb, a young guy wakes up at 6 in the morning. Not for work, not for the gym. He walks straight to his garage, to a car that already runs perfectly fine, and starts bolting on parts that cost more than some people pay in rent. His friends call it an obsession. His family calls it a waste. But to him, every upgrade feels necessary. And here's the thing. This was never really about the car. Think about what a car actually is to you. It's one of the few things you don't just own, you live inside it. You spend hours there every day, sometimes more waking time than you spend in your own bedroom. So when you modify it, you're not changing metal and wiring. You're redesigning a space you occupy. Except this room moves through the world, telling everyone exactly who you are. Psychologists who study why we buy things found something interesting. We get attached to objects that reflect the person we want to become. So the car stops being a car. It becomes a picture of your ideal self. A 23-year-old in an entry-level job drives a turbocharged Civic with racing seats. It doesn't match his life now. It matches where he's trying to go. There's a guy named Marcus in Toronto who started building cars at 19, working 2 jobs just to afford parts. When someone asked him why, his answer said everything. Growing up, his family never stopped moving, 7 cities before he turned 18. He never had a friend group that lasted, never had a room that felt like his. But the car was the one thing he got to control. Every modification was his decision. A piece of solid ground in a life that never stopped shifting. And that points to something deep in all of us, the need for control. When so much of your life is decided by people who aren't you, the car becomes a small kingdom where you make every call. What color, how it sounds, how it moves. In that one space, you're the final word. There's also something you feel the moment you walk into a car meet on a Saturday night. These aren't just people showing off. They've found their tribe. Someone who's sunk $30,000 into a Nissan might look irrational from the outside. But inside that circle, he's understood. He's respected. They all speak the same language. Abraham Maslow put belonging near the very base of what human beings need, right above safety and food. And for a lot of younger enthusiasts, still working out where they fit, this community gives them exactly that. A place where what you know actually matters. And don't overlook the creative side, because it's real. Building a car is a kind of art. You take something that rolled off an assembly line by the thousand and turn it into something that exists nowhere else. And your brain rewards that. When you finish something you poured yourself into, it releases dopamine, the chemical tied to pleasure. That rush when you fire up a new exhaust is the same hit a painter gets finishing a canvas. But let's be honest about the darker side too. For some people, modifying a car is a way of compensating. Sometimes it grows out of insecurity, a need to prove something. There's even a name for it: compensatory consumption. A researcher at a British university interviewed modified car owners, and a striking number admitted they felt overlooked, passed over at work, underestimated. The loud exhaust, the aggressive body kit, these became ways of demanding the respect they weren't getting anywhere else. That doesn't mean every build comes from a wound. These motivations live on a spectrum. Some come from pure love. Others from a deeper need the person might not even realize they carry. There's the pull of mastery too. Plenty of people learn to do the work themselves. Hours of tutorials, mistakes, and slowly, real skill. Psychologists call it flow, where you're so absorbed that time just disappears. Car people describe it perfectly when they talk about being under the hood, where your skill meets the challenge. Picture a father and son in Melbourne who spent 2 years restoring an old Supra. The father said those hours held the deepest conversations they'd ever had. The car became the bridge. And then there's the money, which makes no sense on paper. But you're not a cold calculator. None of us are. We decide based on how something makes us feel. That turbo might be a terrible financial move, but the sense of who you are can be worth far more than what it cost. So the next time you see a car modified far past reason, remember there's a human being behind every choice. That car was never just transportation. It's therapy, creativity, belonging, and identity, all bolted together into one loud, unmistakable package.